Hello again. Now, we do have some breaking news for you this afternoon, and that is around the allegations surrounding a BBC presenter. We've had a statement from the BBC in the last few minutes. Now, the key part of that statement comes at the end, and it says, "We can also confirm a male member of staff has been suspended. We expect to be in a position to provide a further update in the coming days as the process continues." There you go. The BBC board will continue to be kept up to date. So that's at the very end of that statement. Let me read you the whole statement in full. It's just gone up on the BBC website in the last couple of minutes. And this is what it says. "The BBC takes any allegations seriously, and we have robust internal processes in place to proactively deal with such allegations. This is a complex and fast-moving set of circumstances, and the BBC is working as quickly as possible to establish the facts in order to properly inform appropriate next steps. It is important that these matters are handled fairly and with care. We have been clear that if at any point new information comes to light or is provided to us, this will be acted upon appropriately and actively followed up. The BBC first became aware of a complaint in May. New allegations were put to us on Thursday of a different nature. And in addition to our own inquiries, we've also been in touch with external authorities in line with our protocols." And then this line that I read to you just now, "We can also confirm a male member of staff has been suspended. We expect to be in a position to provide a further update in the coming days as the process continues." The BBC board will continue to be kept up to date. And this is surrounding the BBC facing questions about its handling of an allegation that one of its star presenters paid a teenager thousands of pounds to pose for sexually explicit photos beginning when they were 17 years old, 3 years ago. Now, we can bring in our correspondent, Ashish Joshi, who joins me from the newsroom. There has been so much conjecture, Ashish, about who this presenter is. They haven't named him, but they have said it is a male member of staff. Well, they've said confirmation that a male member of staff has been suspended.
Yes, we also know that the BBC's Director General, Tim Davie, has sent an email to BBC staff where he reiterates that the BBC is taking the allegations incredibly seriously. Later in the internal emails, Mr. Davie adds, "By law, individuals are entitled to a reasonable expectation of privacy, which is making the situation more complex. I also want to be very clear that I am wholly condemning the unsubstantiated rumours being made on the internet about some of our presenting talent. We are in contact with a family referenced in the media reports. I want to assure you that we are working rapidly to establish the facts and to ensure that these matters are handled fairly and with care, including by external authorities where appropriate." That's an email sent by the BBC's Director General internally to BBC staff today. This is after a meeting between the Director General, Tim Davie, and the Culture Secretary this morning. So a meeting between the head of the BBC with the Culture Secretary, and we have had the suspension of a male member of staff and this internal email where the BBC reiterating that it's taking the allegations incredibly seriously. We also understand some new allegations were put to the BBC, different from the allegations made earlier over the last 48 hours. So a fresh set of allegations made against this staff member, but of course, no detail about those allegations, but they would have been raised with the Director General by the Culture Secretary earlier this morning in that meeting.
OK, Ashish, thank you very much. So just to bring you up to date about where we are, this is all about the BBC facing questions about its handling of an allegation that one of its star presenters, a well-known name, paid a teenager thousands of pounds, over £35,000, to pose for sexually explicit photos beginning 3 years ago when this individual was 17 years old. Now, it was the Sun newspaper that first reported the allegations, citing this young person's mother as saying that the still unnamed male presenter had, as I said, paid the teenager More than £35,000 over 3 years for the images, and the mother of this young person telling the son that the teenager had used the cash to fund a crack cocaine habit. Now, according to the son, the family complained to the broadcaster on May the 19th, but the presenter was not immediately taken off air. That's according to the son again, and the son said the family had not requested payment for their story. And now we've had the latest from the BBC coming out in the last few minutes with this statement. I'm going to read you the statement in full again. The BBC takes any allegations seriously, and we have robust internal processes in place to proactively deal with such allegations. This is a complex and fast-moving set of circumstances, and the BBC is working as quickly as possible to establish the facts in order to properly inform appropriate next steps. It is important that these matters are handled fairly and with care. We have been clear that if at any point new information comes to light or is provided to us, this will be acted upon appropriately and actively followed up. The BBC first became aware of a complaint in May. New allegations were put to us on Thursday of a different nature, and in addition to our own inquiries, we've also been in touch with external authorities in line with our protocols. We can also confirm a male member of staff has been suspended. We expect to be in a position to provide a further update in the coming days as the process continues. The BBC board will continue to be kept up to date. Let's speak to Sky's Aisha Zahid now. She's at the BBC's headquarters in central London. She's been there all morning. Aisha, just tell us what's been happening this morning around this story.
Well, we've got confirmation there from the BBC in the last few moments that there has been a male member of staff that has been suspended and that they are taking these allegations incredibly seriously. Of course, earlier today, there were lots of questions being asked over the handling of this complaint, and that's given the fact that the mother of this young person claims she made a complaint back in May the 19th, 7 weeks ago, about the situation. And that's something that BBC have confirmed in their statement, saying that there was a complaint received in May, and then a follow-up subsequent information came to light on Thursday as well. And these claims pertain to information that was revealed in The Sun. The mother of this young person said that when the presenter wasn't initially taken off air, that's when she decided to share the story with The Sun for no payment. And it alludes to the fact that the allegations claimed that this young person had been paid £35,000 by a high-profile BBC presenter for explicit images, some payments up to £5,000. And the mother said that this began in 2020 when this young person was only a teenager, aged 17 years old. The young person involved is now 20 years old, and the mother also said that these payments helped fuel a crack cocaine addiction. So that's the revelations that came out. And then a new revelation today as well, allegations that this mother had seen a screenshot from a video call where this BBC presenter is seen sat on his sofa in his pants. So those are the claims being made against the BBC and the complaints that were put forward to them by this mother. And of course, with this emerging detail, there's been speculation, vast speculation online as to who the individual involved is. It meant that a number of high-profile names at the BBC came out on social media to clear their names, really emphasising and stating the fact that it wasn't me, I wasn't involved in any of this. And those include the likes of Gary Lineker, Jeremy Vine, Rylan Clark and Nikki Campbell.